for 2025. We hope that we would have continued partnerships and that we will be able to continue to serve our children and our young people and our people in a whole at the highest possible level. We know that we can't do this without our various stakeholders, and so we are indeed grateful for your contributions and your partnerships throughout the previous years, and we look forward to similar in this new year. Of course, with every new year comes the anxiety and joy and all of the other emotions associated with the reopening of schools for term 2, and so we'll touch on that in a bit, but the countdown is on. We actually, after today, there's one more day, and then our schools reopen fully on Monday, and so we'll talk a bit about that and what the expectations are, and a bit about those components in a bit. But I want to start off by wrapping up or bringing some closure to an important activity that we hosted recently within our ministry. As we know, there were several activities happening during the Christmas break, which were geared towards keeping our students meaningfully engaged. We saw Pee Wee football, we saw the closing out for this term, for the year, for the Rising Stars netball program, and so we had, as I said, various things, and then PJs at the library, and we had parent empowerment workshops. So several things were happening during the course of the Christmas break, and one of those things is the Tree of Tales. So we know that that was a competition which was hosted by the Nevis Public Library, subcaptioned Read, Decorate, Celebrate, and we saw several young people, several students, several adults participating in the Tree of Tales activity. We want to extend highest commendations to all participants, and there was a very intimate closing ceremony which took place yesterday at the Nevis Public Library. It was chaired by our librarian, Mrs. Shea Swanston Wilkin, and we were able to highlight the students who were outstanding, and we were able to also highlight all participants in the reading challenge. I want to start off by recognizing those students and those young people who did well and who were able to emerge the winners of the challenge, and then I want to also highlight those who were able to do well for the ornament decoration component. So there were two components: most books read and best decorated ornament. For the most books read, we want to say congratulations to the winner of the age 3 to 5 category, Zion Clark. Zion read 15 books during the course of the period given. We want to also say congratulations to Shwara Shmertivatan, and she read 23 books at the age 6 to 8 category. Then we had Advith Swanathan, and that's 22 books, ages 9 to 11 category. We had Sophia Durand, and she read 6 books for the 12 to 16 category. And then we had Talia Phillip, age 17 plus category, and Talia read 6 books as well. And I want to say, worthy of note is that Talia is a student at the Navy Sixth Form, and so she, of course, we know at this time of year they have a lot of IAs to get done, and so I want to highlight Talia for taking the time out and for reading those books during the time period, even though she had so many competing activities. I'm told that all of our winners are also generally ardent readers, and I want to say to all of you parents who are listening, when we hear of these types of opportunities, we encourage you to get your children involved so that they can participate and that they can get the skills needed to not only build their literacy skills, but be able to embark on several adventures that they might not be able to as long as they read a book, and they can use their imagination and all of those things, their comprehension skills. There are so many benefits to reading challenges and reading on a whole. And as I said, we did well, the students did well, but the participation could have been much better. Some parents are stating that it was difficult for them to get to the library, and that it was some persons had some challenges there. But we want you to know that this is the inaugural Tree of Tales, which means that there are more to come, and so we have a whole year to figure out how we will be able to get our children into the library a bit more, reading a bit more, participating a bit more. I can think of the days, and I hear lots of my friends and colleagues speak of the days when they used to go to the library, and I know that we have a lot of technology at our fingertips, but there is something about getting your read alouds and your interactions and those types of things. The Nevis Public Library does an excellent job with the preschool reading program, and they also have activities for read alouds as well. And so please, parents, stay tuned and make sure that you get your children involved as much as possible. We also had in the other category, the best decorated ornament category, we had Rikita Sahu. She won the age 3 to 5 category. We had Jaleel A.D. Jones, and he won the 6 to 8 category. And also honorable mention for a beautiful piece from Miss Kiara Warner, age 12 to 16, Sapphira Durand, and age 17 plus we had Shannon Morton. And all of the persons whose names I called, they were able to be part of the ceremony yesterday, and they received their various prizes, and we hope that they will be able to enjoy those prizes and have continued to build on their skills. We tried our best not to give the technology heavy prizes, but to give them prizes which they continue to build on their literacy skills, their interactive skills, their teamwork skills, and so those were selected with those thoughts in mind. Congratulations to all of you once again. We are proud of you, and thank you to the entire team at the Nevis Public Library for ensuring that the initiative came to fruition and they were able to see it through. They were able to encourage persons to sign up and also assist and support as they went along. So commendations to you, to the entire team, Mrs. Paris Morton, Mrs. Wilkin, and the entire team there at the Nevis Public Library. We look forward to several activities during the course of this year, and you will in short order see and hear of some of the things that will be happening across our ministry at the Nevis Public Library. And once again, it is our hope that we could get more and more persons involved and get them excited about books and about reading. All right, we're going to take a short break and we'll be right back.
From Queen City, Nevis, this is the powerhouse of the Eastern Caribbean, Vaughn Radio.
It's time, come on, rise and shine. You know, I know we're gonna have a great time. An hour passes quickly, you don't wanna miss it. So turn up the radio, it's you on the go. Youth on the go. Whoa, let's start the show. Oh, youth on the go. Whoa, let's start the show. Let's go. I will learn new things. I will be creative. Grab the gears, let's gather around, and adventure is always waiting. The storytelling news for us, and we always know what's happening. We act, we play, we dance, we sing from 9 to 10 on Saturday morning. Youth on the go. Whoa, let's start the show. Youth on the go. Let's start the show. Let's go.
All right, welcome back to the first edition of Youth on the Go here on One Radio for 2025. I am Zahnela Claxton from the Ministry of Education et al., and we are here with you this first Saturday of 2025. We're sharing some updates. We just shared the winners of the Tree of Tales, hosted by the Nevis Public Library. We also want to remind you, members of the listening and viewing public, of the upcoming deadlines for the Youth Impact 12. We know it's early, but we want to make sure that we get an early start to ensuring that we know what's happening, and so we want to alert you and inform and remind you of the deadlines for the Youth Impact 12 2020, the first round for 2025. We closed out the January applications, and so we are now looking for the Youth in Technology. Correction. The Youth in Entrepreneurship category closes on Monday 6th January, and for that category the team is looking for young persons, young pioneers of a unique business who have a unique business which provides goods, services, or employment for themselves and others. Youth who have shown outstanding performance as owners or co-owners of enterprises. Youth who have developed innovative and sustainable business ideas. Youth who, through their business, seek to give back to their community. And so we're looking for young entrepreneurs out there, and we want you to nominate, make sure that you have a few persons in, so that we could go through that process and recognize our young people through this very, very important initiative. We also want to let you know that we are looking for and fielding applications for Youth in Technology, where the deadline is the 24th of January 2025. Youth in Technology. Who are we looking for, and what type of person should you nominate? You're looking for someone who led or is leading major initiatives or innovations, breakthroughs in the area of technology. We're looking for young people who use innovative information communication to contribute to their community outside of their immediate personal interest or gain. So we're looking for some young people who are really good at technology, incorporating technology, and of course making a difference as well within their communities at the same time. We know that we already had our winners nominated for last year, selected for last year, and it is now the road to the Youth Impact 12 Award ceremony, which takes place every September. So please make sure that we nominate our young people in these two categories. Entrepreneurship, your deadline is Monday, and Friday 24th January for the Youth in Technology component or category. We also are aware that we have quite a few open scholarships, and last week I shared some of them. Remember that all scholarships on Nevis are fielded through the Ministry of Human Resources, and so we want to encourage you to apply. We cannot underscore the importance of having a scholarship when you're pursuing tertiary level studies. It gets very expensive, listeners and viewers, and so any assistance would be of great help, great value to you. So we firstly want to alert you of the financial assistance for 2025, and this is through the Nevis Island Administration. The Ministry of Human Resources is pleased to inform of the financial assistance application that the financial assistance applications are now being accepted for persons wishing to pursue higher education and are interested in receiving assistance. Financial assistance will be assessed in alignment with the government's priority areas, the strategic areas of the country, and the applicant's contribution to the country upon completion of studies. You would need to submit the following and follow the following guidelines. So 1, a cover letter addressed to the Permanent Secretary, Ministry of Human Resources, requesting the financial assistance, and the letter should include the course of study, why you wish to undergo the specified field of education, and how will such training influence your professional development. How will your professional development contribute to the Federation of St. Kitts and Nevis, and the commencement date and expected duration of studies. 2, you need to produce an original university acceptance letter. University applicants who have not yet received acceptance letters are encouraged to still apply, providing there is evidence that the university has received your applications. 3, breakdown of the course fees from the respective university. A completed financial assistance application form, and you can get those at the Ministry of Human Resources. Birth certificate or certificate of citizenship, and you must be a citizen by birth or citizenship. So kindly note that persons who receive financial assistance must fulfill bonding obligations with the NIA, and that all applications must be at the Ministry of Human Resources no later than March 21st, 2025. So those are some things that are worthy of note. We also are aware of the scholarship, we call it the Taiwanese scholarships, but the first one, the Taiwan MOFA Scholarship 2025, and persons who are interested in that scholarship, you're encouraged to explore that opportunity, which is made available by the Taiwanese government, to pursue both undergraduate and graduate studies. The scholarship benefits include airfare, housing, tuition fees, insurance, textbooks, and monthly allowances. The general application guidelines: applicants are required to submit a completed application form, the photocopy of his or her passport, photocopy of the applicant's highest level of education and academic transcripts. They must be certified by the Ministry of Education. Documents to certify that he or she has applied to an educational institution or is affiliated, or its affiliated Mandarin Training Center, and 2 reference letters. All copies must be clear, they should be easily read and precise, so please make sure that your copies are not cut off anywhere. The scholarship opportunity requires candidates to undergo 1 year of language training. Applications must be submitted to Mrs. Carol Body at the Ministry of Education on St. Kitts by February 21st, 2025. Persons on NEVIS, please note that you will interact with and coordinate with Miss Carissa Griffin, Mrs. Shelley Jones-Liberd, Mrs. Shanola Murray-Gill at the Ministry of Human Resources, and they will help you to ensure that the files get to where they need to on time. So that's the MOFA scholarship. We also have the Taiwan ICDF scholarship, and this one is open to persons who are desirous of pursuing degrees at the master's and PhD levels. Okay, so you're looking at your postgrad levels. Applicants must submit a completed application form that can be accessed via our website, which is provided by the circular. A photocopy of their valid passport, a certified copy of your highest level of education, and those must be certified as well, and 2 reference letters. It is strongly recommended that applicants have a minimum GPA of 3.5 to apply for this scholarship. Please note that individuals can only apply to 1 university, and the application should be emailed to the selected university by the stipulated deadline set by the university. Those completed forms also have to be submitted, but their deadline is Monday, 10th February 2025. So the deadline for the ICDF is Monday, 10th February 2025, and for the MOFA, your deadline is February 21st. So please make sure that you access those, that you reach out to the ladies there at the Ministry of Human Resources. They are extremely helpful, and they will make sure that you have your questions answered and that you can access the application and perhaps as much as possible get you on the right path there towards successfully completing. We also have the Cuban scholarship, and the Nevis Island Administration, Ministry of Human Resources, has received the call for the Cuban scholarships, and that one is pretty close, or it's been going for a while, sorry. For the academic year 2025-2026, there are a total of 20 scholarships being offered as listed below: 6 in medicine, 6 postgraduate medicine, 3 non-medical careers, 2 health technology, 1 dentistry, 1 health technology. And that 1 health technology is a short cycle higher education program. It's just about equivalent to an associate's degree. Kindly take note of the following: applicants for the postgraduate degree must have graduated from Cuba with a medical degree. Applicants for the bachelor's degree must be under the age of 25, and applicants must be citizens of St. Kitts and Nevis. All documents must be accompanied by a legalized Spanish copy. Remember that Cuba is a Spanish-speaking country. And the following documents are required for applications to be processed: a copy of a degree or high school diploma and transcript, a health certificate with a negative HIV test, a negative pregnancy test, 10 1 by 1 inch photos, a recent police record, and birth certificate. The deadline for getting these documents and the application form to the Ministry of Human Resources is Friday, 21st March 2025. And I want to remind you that your points of contact at the Ministry of Human Resources are Miss Carissa Griffin, Mrs. Shelley Jones-Liberd, and Mrs. Shanola Murray-Gill. So once again, reach out to them at the Ministry of Human Resources. Your contact numbers 469-5521, extensions 5164, 5166, or 5163. If you're listening from St. Kitts for the Cuban scholarship, your point of contact is Mrs. Jamila Keynes at the Human Resources Management Department, and her contact that's at 467-1323. So you can reach out and you can get the assistance, you can get your questions answered, and your guidance. I must not close out this section without reminding all of you that it is not wise to wait until the deadline to start the process. There are several documents that you would need to accompany your application form. So you need to first access the application form and then get the accompanying documents. Okay, and give yourself enough time to make sure that your application is neatly done, that it's properly done, well put together. I think there's nothing worse than someone who's asking for assistance and finances and comes across as though there was no thought put into the form or process. So we encourage you, our young people. I know sometimes as young people we go through things quickly and the fast is better for us, but I think I want to encourage you to make sure that you're meticulous in completing those forms, as you are competing against lots of other people who want the same finances that you want, and you have to ensure that your form is outstanding, that your application puts you somehow above the rest. And the best way to start that is to have a neat application form. We'll take a short break and we'll be right back.
When VON vibrates, the whole Caribbean must shake.
860 AM, the powerhouse.
It's time, come on, rise and shine. You know, I know we're gonna have a great time. An hour passes quickly, you don't wanna miss it. So turn up the radio, it's you on the go. Who's on the go? Whoa, let's start the show. Oh, who's on the go? Whoa, let's start the show. Whoa, let's go. I will learn new things. I will be creative. Grab your gears, let's gather around, and adventure is always waiting. The storytelling news for us, and we always know what's happening. We act, we play, we dance, we sing from 9 to 10 on Saturday morning. Who's on the go? Whoa, let's start the show. Oh,
Welcome back to this edition of Youth on the Go here on Von Radio. I am Zahnela Claxton from the Ministry of Education and Talent. It is indeed a pleasure to be here this Saturday, and of course even more of a pleasure to be here in 2025. I think back in the day when we were probably in primary school and high school, we never thought about 2025 being a possibility and a reality, and so it is a pleasure for us to be here in 2025. Just before the break, we were sharing the scholarships which are currently open and through the Ministry of Human Resources there at Pinnes Estate. And now it's time for us to turn our attention to the 6th of January, the most exciting day for all of the children and the teachers, and persons might have mixed feelings about January 6th, but I think the persons who will be happiest might just be the parents. And so it has been a short break, a 4-week break, and we are now ready to kick term 2 into full gear. We know that term 2 comes with its own activities and challenges, as does every term, and so we want to start by reminding you that in term 2 we generally see a large number of absences, especially in the first month in January, and those absences are usually due to some virus that is somewhat has an outbreak, or something that has been that is contagious coming out of the Christmas break. We know that we just came out of the carnival season, and we had lots of mass gatherings. We had the Christmas season, we had mass gatherings within our families, and so sometimes we end up picking up certain viruses, and we want to make sure that we protect our schools, protect our children, protect our teachers as far as possible. When these outbreaks happen, it really causes a strain, and so we're asking parents to be vigilant. We ask the schools to send home persons who are sick, because once they're contagious, they spread really quickly. We're asking parents to be vigilant. If you notice that your children are sick, please keep them at home. Okay? Right now, we know that we have some cases of the hand, foot and mouth disease. I spoke to it last week, and I said that I would remind us this week, and the disease usually shows up in our younger population, and so we want to remind you that hand, foot and mouth disease is a common viral illness affecting young children. The symptoms include fever, mouth sores, rashes on the hands, foot, and sometimes on the buttocks. And of course, I think it's pretty easy to detect the hand, foot and mouth disease once you see it, especially if the rashes, usually, as I said, in the hands. Sometimes the palm of the hands are spotty, and the hands themselves around the mouth area, feet, seeing the same thing. So parents, please be on the lookout. We know that we see it in our very young children, so you're looking at your daycare age, your preschool age, early primary school aged children, those who fall in the early childhood bracket, so just about up to grade 2-3. That's where you'll see those manifesting. If you have children within those age categories, please be on the alert and ensure that you do not send them to school if they come out with any of the symptoms. Please make sure that you get that taken care of and resolved, so that we do not have a full-on outbreak. We know that it is spread through coughs and sneezes and saliva, and it's spread via fluids from blisters or contaminated surfaces. And we know our little ones are high touch beings. They touch a lot, they touch surfaces, they touch people, they like to touch. Touch is part of their developmental stage, and so we are seeing high risks in daycare and school settings. Prevention tips: wash hands very often, use soap and water for at least 20 seconds. And our children generally, especially those in preschool and above, they're taught how to wash their hands effectively, and so we want you to practice it at home as well, parents. And for the younger ones, please make sure that you keep washing their hands as well, because touch, as I said, is a major part of who they are and their current developmental stage. We're asking you to disinfect surfaces. Use chlorine-based disinfectants, as they are more effective, at least at killing the hand, foot and mouth disease virus. We are asking that persons clean regularly disinfect toys and high-touch areas such as the doorknobs, switches, and countertops. So even though children might not be touching they will definitely not be touching your switches and those high touch areas. Some of them may be able to reach the doorknobs, so make sure that you're keeping those clean, and you yourselves as the adult ensure that you're keeping things sanitary so that you don't end up being a carrier. While the hand, foot, and mouth disease does not affect adults, adults can pass on the disease through the aforementioned areas. Avoid close contact. Stay home when you're sick to prevent the spreading of the virus. And as I said, this obtains for any virus. Parents, listeners, please keep them at home. Practice good hygiene. Teach children not to put their hands or objects in their mouth. When should you call your doctor? If your child has a high fever or symptoms lasting 2 or more days, visit your healthcare provider immediately. If your child has difficulty swallowing, visit the emergency room immediately. You're reminded, for more information, you can reach out to your nearest health center. And I know that the health promotion unit here on Nevis has been doing an exceptional job sharing the information out as well. And we have been sharing information with our schools. And so we are hoping that the information is out. Remember, prevention is key. We want to stay ahead of this so that we do not end up in a situation where we have a full-on outbreak, and that would definitely affect parents, your livelihood, children, their quality of life for a little while, as well as their level of comfort. So please make sure that we are paying keen attention to that, parents, guardians, listeners, viewers. The other virus that we often see in this term is the flu virus, and I think a lot of the tips which were shared via the health promotion, the health release, would obtain for the flu virus, and so we want you to be on high alert. The difference with the flu virus is that it affects all ages, and so lots of times between January and early February you see a high level of absenteeism, and it also affects not just our children, it affects our teachers, and it puts a real strain on everyone when we have those outbreaks. So we're asking, if your children are coughing, sneezing profusely, and you know that they have the flu-like symptoms, please keep them at home. We're also asking that when the principals and counselors and personnel at the school reach out to your parents, that you come to collect your children. We've had this challenge over the years that we have to wait 2, 3, 4 hours after calling for parents to come to collect their children. If we have sick children, we need to get them off compound as soon as possible, and more than likely in most instances a lot of them left home not feeling well, and so we're asking for us not even to get to that point. We should not allow them to leave home not feeling well, but if by chance they left home and you didn't realize that they're sick, please make sure that they're collected shortly after the leaders and school personnel have reached out. It is indeed a challenge to contain, and just like the hand, foot, and mouth disease, we know that coughing, sneezing, saliva, touching on surfaces when you're sick, those all contribute to making it a bit more difficult. We can also increase, I know it takes us back and we get to probably some PTSD, but having the alcohol-based sanitizers, having small ones in their backpack, this is a good time to make sure they wash their hands as much as possible. But in the absence of, or where they do not have the ability to wash their hands for whatever reason, if they can have that on hand as well, it will be helpful. We've encouraged parents not to practice having those rags or towels for the children to sneeze into, blow their noses on, because they also are carriers. They carry the germs live for a long time, and what the children tend to do is sneeze and cough into them and then put them down on the desk somewhere, and then someone else comes and touches the desk, and so that creates another level of challenge. So we're asking you, as I said, to make sure that we are all vigilant, that we're working on this together, working through this together, and that we're not making each other sick. Parents, guardians cannot underscore that enough for you, because you will be a great stakeholder in this process. We also know that with term 2, I'm jumping ahead a bit, with term 2 comes a lot more juggling in terms of extracurricular activities and academics in short order. In the next week or two, we will see the calendar for the 2025 track and field season. The official calendar for us will be released shortly, and with that comes all of the associated activities, the cross countries, the cross country relays, the heats activities, or whatever the school decides as their program for the season. And so we want to remind you, parents, guardians, that even though this is usually one of our high energy seasons, that we have to create that level of balance. We want to train to create an environment for student athletes who are students first, athletes second. I know that all of the hype comes with the athletic component, but if we truly want to ensure their success, their holistic success, we have to ensure that they are maintaining their grades, that they're keeping up with their assignments, that they're keeping up with their homework, that everything is in order. So I'm encouraging you from the onset to do what you know you should do, and in case you don't know, we'll go through a bit, give you some tips very much ahead of the start of the term, so that you will be in a position to effectively support your child or a child within your care. We know that our usual first activity is the EPPS relay activity. That's usually the first activity for the track and field season, and from there we know that we have several activities after individual school sports. We have combined sports and activities. We have and we usually culminate on Nevis with the Nevis Primary Schools Championship, and so those dates are pretty locked. The EPPS Anniversary Relay Festival will take place on the 26th of January 2025, and so that's in about 3 weeks, and then from there we'll go straight down to the 2nd of April, when we'll have the Nevis Primary Schools Championship happening at the end of term 2. So that is a general idea of what we could expect. We also, outside of the track and field season, we can expect to see the 2025 edition of the Interscholastic Elocution Contest. The Black History Month Elocution Contest will be happening from the Department of Education, and we can also look forward to the Literary and Debating Societies members competing in the 2025 edition of the Leeward Islands Debating Competition. They are going to be defending their title, and so we will share the topic with you in short order for those who want to contribute. They will be competing, and I know that they have been working very hard trying to make sure that they are ahead of the game and that they are ready to compete and ready to do well. We'll take a short break, and when we come back, we'll share those topics with you and a bit more information.
Sugar City St. Kitts, keep it sweet. Keep listening to Vaughn.
It's time, come on, rise and shine. You know, I know, we're gonna have a great time. An hour passes quickly, you don't wanna miss it. So turn up the radio, it's you on the go. Youth on the go, whoa, let's start the show. Oh, youth on the go, whoa, let's start the show. Let's go, let's go, let's go. I will learn new things. I will be creative. Grab gears, let's gather round, an adventure is always waiting. The storytelling needs for us, and we always know what's happening. We act, we play, we dance, we sing from 9 to 10 on Saturday morning. Youth on the go. Whoa, let's start the show. Youth on the go. Whoa, let's start the show. Let's go, let's go, let's go.
All right, welcome back to the first edition of Youth on the Go here on Vaughn Radio for the year 2025. And just before the break, we were mentioning some of the activities that will be happening this term. Some of the major activities, of course, we know they will have several activities at the school level. They will have their Black History tribute activity, whether it be a concert or a different activity. Some schools decide to do tours and other enrichment activities, which are all fine. We also will see, as I said, some of the sport related activities, the elocution contest, and the Leeward Islands debating competition. So the Leeward Islands debating competition is slated to take place in St. Martin from the 6th to the 9th of March 2025. So that's March 6th to 9th 2025. We will see on night 1 Anguilla versus Antigua, and the topic is permissive parenting has negatively impacted Gen Zs. Permissive parenting has negatively impacted Gen Zs. On night debate 2, we will see St. Kitts versus St. Martin. Artificial intelligence does more harm than good. Artificial intelligence does more harm than good. The following debate 3, Nevis versus the winner of debate 1. We will see the topic: parental leave should be equal for both mothers and fathers. Parental leave should be equal for both mothers and fathers. Debate 4, and that's the final night. We will see winner of debate 2 versus winner of debate 3, which should be Nevis. Putting that out there very early. Without adequate soft skills training, Caribbean youth will not achieve their fullest potential. Without adequate soft skills training, Caribbean youth will not achieve their fullest potential. And I know that we've been hearing a lot about the soft skills coming from the business community, and we're seeing, even from our end, we're seeing the results of not having as many soft skills as obtained before. And so that, I think, will be an interesting one. I know that Nevis will be on that one. That's the final night. I know Nevis will be there, and in fact, Nevis will be there, and we will be opposing the topic on that night. So if there are persons out there who are listening and your interest is piqued by any of these topics, please feel free to reach out to Mrs. David and team there at the Nevis 6th Form, and they will be more than happy to get your input and your support. You know that we have to get proper references and quotes to support the points which are raised, and so they will be more than happy. If you want to throw in your financial support, I know the debaters were here with us a couple of weeks ago ahead of their in-house debates. If you want to put your financial support forward, remember they're going to St. Martin, so it will be a little bit more expensive. The students have been doing an exceptional job, along with their teachers, of raising funds, and they did so throughout term 1, and so in term 2 they will continue until we get to March 6th. March 6th through 9th, they will be going to St. Martin, and they need our help to get them there. So feel free to contribute, whether it be financially, it will be of your time, of your expertise. It will be greatly appreciated. As I said previously as well, with so many different things happening, it's important for our students and our parents to and I must say, soft skills isn't just about what we can do with a system. I think it's a holistic partnership. Soft skills parents, start at home too. They start at home actually. And so we want you to put some structures in place and to ensure that whatever we are trying to do on our school leaders and school personnel are trying to do, please make sure that you're supporting them. I know we get very emotional. I keep saying it. We get emotional during term 2. We want, first of all, our house colors to win during the school sports meets, and then we want our school to win during the interscholastic meets or competitions. So with the passion, I want you to remember who is at the forefront and the well-being of your individual children throughout this process. I often say to parents, we are trying to get our students access to scholarships, and sometimes, you know, persons might say, well, this person had a lot of talent and now they're here wasting the talent away. We're trying to be more focused in ensuring that we get them to the finish line, but we need the support as well from all entities. And so we know that the basic requirement for a college scholarship, you have to have your basic subjects. You have to have your English, you have to have your math, you have to have most times the social science and the science at minimum. Parents, we can do this together, but we have to ensure that we're not slacking off. And we might say, oh, it's primary school, we don't have to think about that yet. Even at the primary level, if we're missing key skills, we continue to increase and widen the gap. We're encouraging you as we go into term 2 to keep your eyes on the future of your child or your children, so that we can have that balance that is needed. So your time management is going to be called into question, and that's one of the soft skills that we're going to need in the workplace. Time management. How do we balance training? How do we balance homework? Those who have SBAs and IAs, those who have exams, those who have class tests. How do we balance all of that during this term, when we, once again, our focus, our eyes are usually fixed on that trophy? It's important for us to remember now, before the road to the trophy starts, that is something that we have to keep in mind. So parents, I recommend setting schedules. You know the schedules that the coaches have for training. Work around that. Sometimes we're going to have to trim some things because not every child can balance as many things as others, and so we may have to trim some things off for the time period. We might not be able to do certain things to keep what is important in focus. And so I think on that note, we have to talk about prioritizing what is most important. If you have an exam coming up and you have another activity happening, which activity is most important at that time? Because remember, student athletes are student athletes throughout, so when they get to college, they're going to need these exact skills. Communicate. Keep in touch with your coaches and teachers, especially when it comes to potential scheduling conflicts. Take care of yourselves. Parents, take care of your children. Maintain their physical and mental health, making sure that they get enough sleep, they eat well, they're exercising well, to get that balance that you need. Okay, so and we can go on and on when it comes to the nutrition component. Make sure that they're eating the foods needed to give them the energy at the time needed, and your coaches generally give you meal plans. They generally give you advice on what one should or should not eat. For example, I learned it was, I think, not a new bit of information. I was reminded last season that you don't give them these heavy macaroni pies and cheesy pastas and all those things prior to going on a track, because they won't digest properly and it can create other challenges and concerns. So know what they're supposed to eat. Lots of natural carbs as opposed to processed carbs. So I guess that's why we talk about having breadfruit and dashin and yams and all of those vegetables, those natural carbs that will give them the energy needed and the nutrients needed to be able to succeed. You have to constantly reflect and adjust. What does that mean? You have to look at what you're doing and whether or not it's working. Please be mindful that you will get instances sometimes. We don't want it to happen, but it is possible that we have instances where there are some slight injuries, and we have to also exercise wisdom when we get to those points. We cannot keep pushing through, and I know sometimes we wear them as a badge of honor, but an injured child going through, and not, especially if it's a grave injury, so make sure you seek medical guidance as well. You don't want to cause any permanent damage. Once again, your eyes are fixed on a long-term goal while achieving your short-term goals. Your long-term goal for your child might be for your child to get a scholarship for college, or to compete internationally via various meets, and so you never lose sight of that goal just for that short-term gratification of, winning this one race or winning this one medal. Now, every race and every medal leads to the big goal, but as I said, exercise wisdom so that whatever you do makes sense, and especially in the best interest of your child or your children. I said to constantly communicate with coaches. When we're thinking of student athletes, please constantly communicate with your teachers. If they're missing classes, if they're missing assignments, if they're missing concepts, we'll have to make sure that we get those covered as well. And I encourage the schools and the teachers to do the same. Keep in contact with leadership, with coaches, with parents when we see our student athletes, any child, but especially our student athletes during this season when it gets very active. When we see them missing things or falling behind, we don't want to increase gaps. Experience has taught that these gaps widen over time, and when we really get a handle on it, it's too late for us to make a big difference. We don't want to fall into that trap. We have some persons who I think would be poised to compete for Carifta Games 2025. They would want to try out. We have some who are poised to access scholarships, and for those who get to Carifta, they're usually scouts there for track and field athletes. They're usually scouts there also who are looking at you, and so those are the types of things you pace yourself throughout the term, throughout the season, throughout the year, to make sure that you're reaching your bigger goals and dreams. And as I speak to that, I want to encourage you, students, as you embark on term 2 and as you embark on the 2025 calendar year, to continue to set your goals, set your short-term goals. What do you want for this term? What do you want for the rest of the school year? What do you want for the calendar year? I'm not asking us to do any resolutions. You realize I didn't talk resolutions this time. It's all about setting your goals, setting your SMART goals, making sure that they are specific, measurable, and manageable. Okay, and make sure that you can reach them, that they are time bound, and so make sure that you are attainable. So please set your SMART goals. Be smart this 2025, and I know that you will all be successful. Happy New Year to once again to all of our listeners and viewers. We look forward to an exciting 2025. Have a wonderful week.